Hello everyone, my name is Rodion, and today I would like to show you how to install and set up a full MOONBEAM node on your Windows 10 machine. First, what we need to do is we need to check our system requirements, because otherwise you won't be able to run a full MOONBEAM node. So for that, you can check the top of this text file that I prepared. So basically, this text file gives you all of the instructions needed for the installation and the setup. So your system should have 8 cores, 16 gigs of RAM, 250 gigs of SSD hard memory, these two ports opened on your firewall, and WSL requirements for Windows system itself is if you run x64 system, your version should be 1903 or higher. If you run IMR64 system, then your version should be 2004 or higher. So basically, we can go ahead and start the installation process. First of all, we need to take the step number 0, which is enable CPU virtualization feature. Unfortunately, I am not able to show you how to do that simply because this is very specific to your computer build or to your motherboard. So for example, I'm recording this tutorial on Alienware M15 laptop, and my virtualization feature was enabled by default. However, on my stationary personal computer with an older Asus motherboard and older CPU, I needed to do that through the BIOS configuration, and I provided the video that I used for this configuration over here. So first thing that we need to do is we need to install the Docker, because we're gonna run our node in the Docker container. For that, we can go ahead and open this link over here. So this link basically shows you the other requirements that you need to satisfy before you can install Docker. So first, we can go ahead and open the second link that was provided over here. I already opened it, it's over here. And we need to follow step number 1, which is enable the Windows subsystem for Linux, and then step number 3, enable virtual machine feature. For that, you need to open your PowerShell. In order to open your PowerShell, you need to type PowerShell, right-click on it, and run it as administrator. I've already opened it and implemented these two first steps. So as you can see, this is my PowerShell, and here is the first command that I ran, which is the same command as here. And then this is the second command that I ran, which is provided over here. Hi again, I just restarted my system because that was required after enabling a WSL and virtual machine feature. In order to verify whether we completed these first two steps, I mean step number enable WSL and enable virtual machine feature, we can go ahead and type turn on Windows feature on and off, and then open it. And then here we can see first Windows subsystem for Linux checked, and then also virtual machine platform checked. So we are fine. We can go ahead and finally install Ubuntu. So basically, there are multiple ways of how you can install WSL subsystem on your Windows machine. I prefer installing Ubuntu from the Microsoft Store, but there are other ways, so you can feel free and do the installation of any other possible Linux distribution for your Windows. So let's go ahead and follow my steps. We need to open the store and then search for Ubuntu. And I would recommend installing the latest Ubuntu version, which is 2004 over here. Go ahead and left click on it, and then install. Alright, while we are waiting for the installation, we can review this step. I think that I should put it below the installation step itself. So while we installing Ubuntu for Windows, we can go ahead and install Linux kernel update package, which is provided at the very first link. These are exactly the same links, as you can notice. So let's go ahead and open it. Here, step number 4, provides us the package that we need to install. Simply open it and follow the installation steps. Alright, awesome. We're good to go. Let's check where we are at with the installation of Ubuntu. We are almost done with the installation of Ubuntu. I'm gonna pause this video and wait up until this Ubuntu 2004 subsystem will be completely installed on my machine. Thank you. Alright, Ubuntu was installed. Let's launch it and set it up really quick. So the setup of the Ubuntu is extremely simple. You just need to provide your username and your password. So basically, once you've done this, you have a fully functional Linux subsystem on your Windows. Let's give it some time while it's initializing. I'm gonna pause this video again. Alright, the initialization was done, so now we're gonna provide username and the password. Okay, we are good to go. Right now, basically, we can go ahead and close this terminal window and follow the next step. So the next step would be the Docker installation itself. Again, the Docker installation link is provided over here. I think that we already satisfied all of the requirements. So after you download the Docker desktop file, the installation file, go ahead and run it from your Windows system. So let's go ahead and install the Docker app on our computer. I accidentally opened two instances of the installation, so I can close one of them and go ahead and open this one. Okay, so we already satisfied with this requirement, so I think that it should install without any troubles. Again, this is tutorial for a completely clean Windows machine. I have never installed either Docker or Ubuntu for this specific Windows on this machine, and I think this should be helpful in showing you how to configure everything on the go. I basically provided all of the steps and doing that with you. So let's wait until completion of the Docker installation. I will pause the video and resume it after the installation is complete. Alright, the Docker desktop application installation was complete, and now the installer asks me to log out of my Windows to complete the installation. I will go ahead and pause this video and restart my computer to complete this installation. Thanks. Alright, I just restarted my computer to complete the Docker desktop application setup. So once I open my Windows, I got this service agreement page from the Docker. I'm going to accept all the terms and open the Docker application. As you can see, it's starting over here. Alright, it seems like our Docker engine is functional and starting, so we can go ahead and check the next instruction that we need to take. Alright, after completing the Ubuntu and Docker installation, we are left with very few simple steps. So first we need to clone the image of the latest MOONBEAM version. We're gonna go ahead and skip the tutorial. So in order to clone the image of Docker, we need to open command line, which stands for cmd. So now we open the command prompt and we're gonna insert this command: docker pull pure stack moonbeam and the version of the node that you want to download. Today is October 6th, and the latest available version is 0.13.1. So I'm going to clone this specific image. Press enter, and now the CMD should do the magic. I'm gonna pause this video and wait up until the completion of the image cloning. Thanks. Alright, the Moonbeam Node image was successfully installed, and we can go ahead and open the Docker to see the images. And yes, as we can see over here, we have PureStack Moonbeam version 13.1. So now let's open the next steps. After that, we can open the Moonbeam documentation and review these two commands over here. So if you would like to run a full node, this is the command that you should run. However, this command is provided for Ubuntu or Linux, so you cannot run it directly in your CMD for your Windows 10. Again, this is an instruction for a full node, and this is the instruction for the Collator mode. So basically, I figured out the same command for Windows machine based on the flags and options that are present in this configuration. We can go ahead and open these instructions. So it's gonna be over here. As you can see, we can review these two back to back and see that they are very similar to one another. This is the setup for Linux again, and the top two lines are slightly different from the one that I have here for Windows setup. So what we need to make sure is we need to make sure that we have chain alphanet flag, that we have our name. This should be a unique name. Then we should have execution wasm, wasm execution compiled, pruning archive, and state cache size. At the end, again, we should repeat the name as exactly. You should provide exactly the same name as here, and then pruning archive too. So after cloning the after cloning the Moonbeam node, we can go ahead and insert this specific command into our CMD. Okay, let's run and see what's going on. Let's allow the access. As you can see, something started happening. I will show you what's happening into the Docker console. Okay. Here we go. Click here to unstick from the button, and here we can see all of the necessary information about your Moonbeam node. And the way to check whether it's functional or not is to check whether it's syncing. Yes, it does sync, and after that I'm gonna show you that your node is present into Polkadot telemetry website. So the next step would be to make a connection to the Polkadot.js apps. For that, I'm going to temporarily terminate this node. No worries, guys, you can always run exactly the same command that I provided into your CMD to start the brand new node. So I'm going to terminate it right now, and then I'm going to Google for the Polkadot.js. Let me open it for you. Polkadot.js. So click on the very first web link and open apps and wallet over here. Alright, so if you don't have your account set up on Polkadot.js apps, you should go to account tab and press add account and create yourself a new account. I already had one, so I basically restored it from the JSON. So after you access this web page of Polkadot.js apps, you should open the tab in the left top corner and click development. And then here you should switch to the local node and press switch. Then let's start the Docker and run the node again. So for that, we can go ahead and run exactly the same command into the command line. That should do the job. Let's check whether it's working or not. Again, container apps, yes, again it gave us all of the information about the node. Please note the name, redrodion, this is my name. So we can go ahead and stick to the bottom and then open the tutorial and access this link over here, telemetrypolka.io. Alright, so next we have to click Moonbase Alpha, sorry. And then here, as you can see, I am the only one person who is running the latest version. Over here, AAA Rodion. This is my location, Las Cruces, New Mexico, and the Node version. As you can see, blocks are getting produced. Everything is working as intended, and this is pretty much all that you need to know about how to set up your MOONBEAM node on Windows 10 machine. One disclaimer though, you should not run your node in a full mode on your Windows machine on the long term. It's recommended to do this on Linux servers or Linux machine rather than on Windows. So I wouldn't recommend running a node on a Windows machine for more than a day or so. Uh, this is not the purpose of it. So basically, if you would like to run it on the long term, get yourself a server and provision it in a similar way, but for Ubuntu, and run it for as long as you want. So this tutorial is intended for showing you the use case, and basically you can play with the node on your Windows machine without having Ubuntu installed. So basically this might be very helpful for some development and some features that you want to implement with the Moonbase Alpha. Uh, and I think that we can wrap up and finish this tutorial. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope that this tutorial was quite helpful for you. If you have any kind of concerns or suggestions, please comment the video and let me know what you think about it. Thanks and bye.